Gangly gang. How we doing this week?
How you doing?
I'm glad you're here. Let us get straight into it. Some of you may or may not have already watched the polarizing sequel of Joaquin Phoenix's The Joker, Folie à Deux.
Bonjour, hello, hi. He's like, oh, hello, bonjour, bonjour. I said, English, French? He said, English, yeah, oui.
Folie à deux, a French phrase which translates to a delusion or mental illness shared by two people in close association. This film being remembered for causing a hullabaloo, for it was met with scathing criticism by critics and moviegoers alike.
You've probably heard by now that the new Joker movie is a massive flop. Joker Folie à Deux.
And because of this, I did not care to watch this movie. 2 months passed and I was bored at home, scrolling for films to rent and stream, and I decided to purchase this film as there was nothing else to watch at the time. And so, with no expectations, I proceeded to run through the 2-hour runtime of this film. By the end, I knew a few things. Number one, I did understand why many folks did not enjoy this film, for it was a sad, depressing, musical tale of the man behind the Joker's mask, Arthur Fleck. Number two, even with that in mind, I personally quite enjoyed this film as I did not place any preconceived expectations on it, which made it easier to accept its plot, premise, and overall vision. And number three, there was one specific scene in this movie that remained with me long after I watched the film. So much so that it is the reason you are watching this video. The scene opens with a deflated Arthur, who has had the weight of being the Joker on his shoulders, as that is what everyone has come to see him as, including his love interest in this film, Harley Quinn. Now, up until this point, she has shown a fascination and obsession with the Joker, and not Arthur Fleck. She has manipulated and lied her way through the entire film in order to get Arthur Fleck to believe again that he is the Joker, the colorful, mass-murdering maniac that oozes charisma and is the voice of the broken and forgotten. And so, what makes this scene so memorable is the fact that Harley, who has come to visit the Joker in prison, can clearly see a broken, lost, uninspired, and dejected shell of a man. She then lies to him about moving into his old apartment and falling pregnant, hoping this will get him to react.
I'm pregnant.
When that fails, she breaks into a musical performance, a song that showers Arthur with compliments, affirmations, and beautiful words of poetry.
Why do stars fall down from the sky every time you walk by?
This works. Arthur begins to lift his head as his self-esteem begins to grow. One can tell that these words sung to him were sentiments that he needed to hear as a child, but never quite was so loved, so held. No one ever spoke life into him. And by the end of her musical display, Arthur had the face of a joyful, giddy child. He was in a prison cell after all, but was left dancing like a free man without a care in the world. Harley's words unlocked his inner child, playful, loving, and almost innocent. The scene was an emotional one for me because it displayed something we have all chosen to disregard. And that is the realization of how most of us are beaten down by the time we are adults, told we are insignificant, starved of any self-affirming words that by the time we've reached adulthood, we lack a true belief in ourselves. Even though Harley was not using this with good intentions, it still worked. Arthur, the child, still needed to hear that about himself, to know that someone values him.
On the day that you were born, the angels got together and decided to make a dream come true.
And that dichotomy is what gives the scene its multi-layered perspective. And so, Using this film as a projection of the moral of this video, I would urge all of us to remember that we have a responsibility to make each other better. We, the acolytes of God, have the ability to inspire, heal, uplift, and transform each other in ways we may not be fully aware of. This is the revelation of this video, to remind us to be good to one another, for good already lives within us. And so the natural thing to do is to spread and share that to those that may not know this. This is your purpose. Now, go forth and run this newspaper article in your town. Tuck Shop gang, you know I love you all. Till the next one.